Stop scrolling. What I'm about to show you will change everything you thought you knew about one of history's most famous artifacts. Right now, in 2026, millions of people are lining up to see the Bayeux Tapestry as it returns to Britain for the first time in almost 1,000 years. They think they're seeing a medieval masterpiece. They have no idea they're looking at one of history's greatest lies. A lie so carefully crafted, so brilliantly hidden in plain sight, that it fooled the entire world for centuries. I spent weeks researching this, and what I discovered kept me up at night. There's a reason powerful people wanted this story buried. There's a reason certain details were literally cut out and restitched. And there's a reason that when you stand in front of this tapestry, you feel like something's off. You can't quite put your finger on it, but something doesn't add up. Trust your instincts. You're right. And in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to prove it to you. But first, let me show you something that will make your blood run cold. January 5th, 1066. A king is dying, and 3 powerful men are circling like vultures. But here's what they don't teach you in school. One of these men has already been promised the throne by the dying king. His name is Harold Godwinson, and he's the most powerful warrior in England. On his deathbed, King Edward literally hands Harold the crown and whispers his blessing. Witnesses confirm it. It's legitimate. It's legal. Harold becomes king. So why does the Bayeux Tapestry show him as a lying, oath-breaking usurper who deserves to die? Because the tapestry wasn't made to tell the truth. It was made to erase it. And the man who commissioned this propaganda masterpiece? William the Conqueror's own brother, a bishop who understood that controlling the narrative meant controlling history itself. But he made mistakes. He left clues, and once you see them, you can't unsee them. Let me show you where the cracks appear. In 2019, a team of researchers used multispectral imaging on the Bayeux Tapestry, technology that can see beneath the surface of the fabric. And what they found made headlines that were quickly buried. Entire sections of the tapestry have been restrained, re-embroidered, altered. Someone went back and changed the story, physically cutting out threads and replacing them with new ones. Why? What was so dangerous that it had to be erased even from propaganda? Here's where it gets creepy. One of the altered sections is the famous oath scene, the moment where Harold supposedly swears loyalty to William. Modern analysis shows this section has been heavily modified. The original embroidery underneath tells a different story, one where Harold appears to be under duress, possibly held prisoner. But that version didn't serve the narrative, so someone literally stitched over reality. And here's the question that haunts me. If they altered that scene, what else did they change? What other truths were cut away and lost forever? Hold that thought, because it gets darker. Now, I need to talk about something historians whisper about but rarely address publicly: the margins of the tapestry. Most people look at the main scenes, kings, battles, ships. But the real story is happening in the borders, in the decorative margins above and below. And what's there is disturbing. There are naked figures in sexual positions. There are decapitations. There are scenes of violence that don't match the heroic narrative above them. And then there's her, a woman labeled Aelfgiva, standing in a doorway while a naked man appears below her in the margin. Nobody, and I mean nobody, can definitively explain who she is or why she's there. But here's the terrifying part. Everyone in 1070 would have known exactly what this meant. It was referencing some scandal, some dark secret that was common knowledge at the time. A sex crime, a political assassination, a kidnapping. The truth was so explosive that it's been completely scrubbed from every written record. All that remains is this cryptic image, a medieval inside joke that's now a historical black hole. What happened to Aelfgiva? And why is she the only woman in the entire tapestry who's named? Someone wanted us to remember her, but remember what? Let me tell you about the real Harold, because what they did to his legacy is criminal. September 25th, 1066. 3 weeks before the Battle of Hastings, while William is still preparing his invasion fleet in France, a massive Viking army, 300 ships strong, lands in northern England. This isn't some raiding party. This is an invasion force led by Harold Hardrada, literally Hard Ruler, one of the most feared warriors in medieval Europe. Harold Godwinson gets the news and makes a decision that should be in every military textbook. He force marches his entire army 185 miles north in 4 days. 4 days. Then at Stamford Bridge, he doesn't just defeat the Vikings, he annihilates them. Hardrada dies, his army is destroyed, only 24 ships limped back to Norway out of 300. It's one of the most decisive victories in medieval history. Harold should have been remembered as a legend. Instead, he immediately gets word, William has landed in the south. So Harold turns his exhausted, bleeding army around and marches them 241 miles back south in less than 2 weeks. Do the math. That's over 400 miles of forced marching and 2 full-scale battles in less than a month. And when Harold reaches Hastings, his men are so exhausted they can barely stand. But they form their shield wall anyway, and for 6 hours, they hold. October 14th, 1066. Senlac Hill. This is the moment the tapestry has been building toward. William's inevitable victory, except it wasn't inevitable at all. For most of the day, Harold is winning. The Norman cavalry charges up the hill again and again, and every time, the English shield wall breaks them. Norman knights are dying in droves. William's army starts to panic. Then comes the moment that changed everything. A moment the tapestry barely shows. A rumor spreads through the Norman ranks. William is dead. His forces begin to retreat. The battle is about to collapse into a Norman rout. William has to rip off his helmet and gallop up and down the lines screaming, "Look at me, I'm alive," just to stop his army from fleeing. That's how close England came to staying English. Then, tragedy. A group of English soldiers breaks formation to chase the retreating Normans. It might have been a mistake. It might have been a false retreat tactic. But, in that moment of chaos, Harold is struck down. And with their king dead, the English army dissolves. One decision, one broken formation. That's all that separated England from remaining an independent Anglo-Saxon kingdom. The tapestry shows divine judgment. History shows dumb luck. Everyone knows how Harold died, right? Arrow in the eye, divine punishment from heaven. It's literally the most famous image from the tapestry. Except here's the problem. It might be completely fake. Recent restoration analysis reveals that the arrow in the eye figure has been heavily altered, possibly added centuries after the original embroidery. Contemporary written accounts, Norman accounts mind you, describe something completely different. They say Harold was surrounded by 4 Norman knights who hacked him to pieces. His body was so mutilated that he could only be identified by his lover, Edith Swanneck, who recognized intimate marks on what was left of his corpse. William refused to give the body to Harold's mother, even when she offered its weight in gold. Instead, he had Harold buried in an unmarked grave on the beach under a rock, with a mocking inscription, "Here Harold guards the sea." That's the real story. Brutal, dishonorable, cruel. But the tapestry couldn't show that. So someone added the arrow later. Cleaner, more symbolic, more acceptable. They literally stitched a prettier lie over an ugly truth. And for 1,000 years we believed it. What else have we believed that was stitched over reality? The tapestry ends with William's victory. Triumphant, heroic, divinely blessed. Roll credits, right? Except the real horror story was just beginning. The Battle of Hastings didn't win England. It won one battle. For the next 5 years, England burned. When Northern England rebelled in 1069, William's response was so brutal that modern historians call it genocide. He ordered the harrying of the North, a systematic campaign of destruction. His armies destroyed every village, every farm, every food store between York and Durham. They slaughtered livestock. They burned seed stores. They deliberately created a famine. And then winter came. An estimated 100,000 people, possibly a quarter of northern England's population, starved to death. Entire families froze in the ruins of their homes. Survivors ate grass, bark, and according to contemporary sources, each other. Bodies lay in the streets for months because there was no one left to bury them. 17 years later, when the Domesday Book was compiled, vast areas of northern England were still recorded as waste, completely depopulated, still uninhabited. This was William's England. This was the peace the conqueror brought. But you won't find any of this in the tapestry. Because propaganda never shows the aftermath. It never shows the bodies. Before I tell you how 1066 still controls your life today, let me say something real. People tell me I'll never build this channel. They say nobody cares about old history. They say I won't get subscribers. But here's the thing. Every person who subscribes proves them wrong. Every single one of you sends a message that hidden history matters, that uncovering lies matters. So if this video is making you question what else you've been taught wrong, hit that subscribe button right now. Show the naysayers they're wrong about what people care about. Now, back to 1066 because it shaped everything. The English class system, that's Norman. The fancy words we use for food. Beef instead of cow. Pork instead of pig. That's because Norman nobles spoke French, while Anglo-Saxon peasants spoke English. Even American law traces back to Norman legal structures. The divide between rich and poor, the language you speak, the legal system you live under, it all goes back to this tapestry, to this conquest, to this lie that was stitched into history and taught as truth. When you stand before the Bayeux Tapestry in 2026, you're not looking at the past, you're looking at the blueprint of your present. So here we are. The Bayeux Tapestry returns to Britain after nearly 1,000 years, and it brings its secrets with it. But here's the final twist that keeps me up at night. The tapestry we have is incomplete. Historians believe the final sections are missing. There should be scenes showing William's coronation on Christmas Day 1066. There should be an ending. But it's gone, cut away, lost to time, or was it deliberately removed? What was shown in those final scenes that someone decided the world should never see? Was it too honest, too brutal? Did it show something that contradicted the whole propaganda narrative? We'll probably never know. But here's what we do know. Those who win wars don't just conquer land, they conquer history itself. They stitch their version into art, into books, into the tapestries we hang in museums and teach to children. And sometimes, if you look closely enough, you can see where the threads don't quite match. Where the truth was cut away. If you want more videos uncovering the lies stitched into history, subscribe now. Like this video. Share it with someone who thinks they know the story of 1066. Drop a comment telling me what hidden history you want exposed next. Together we're pulling at the threads. Let's see what unravels. Thanks for watching. Remember, question everything, especially the stories told by winners.